Podcast, episode, I didn't write it down, 130 maybe? 120, 20. Anyway, this is the prelude to this Friday. That'll be, what is this Friday? Anybody tell me before I even intro you guys as guests? The 12th? Beautiful. Friday the 12th, 2016. This is a show with a bunch of comics who I'm going to have on the show. It's at Blue Beetle Bar, also called Chapala, also called Luchauso. Sure, what the fuck. It's got 800 names, but I'm happy to have all these guys there. So, welcome to the podcast. I'm going to intro everybody. First off, all you guys, thanks for coming on. We have recent podcast guest, Taylor Peppers. How are you doing, Taylor?
Very good, very good.
Excellent. We'll just open it up to general conversation after I intro you guys. So, and then we have a newcomer, Camilo. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, dude, anytime. And regular on the podcast, Mr. Mike Moran. Mike, is your equipment working? An answer. Turn your camera off.
Which equipment are we talking about?
Yeah. If you turn your camera off, it might go quicker. Otherwise, if you have to leave us,
if
that's
you
okay.
just
Or you
said
can-
Blackburn by band, then yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, you know what we can do, Mike? It's so cool. Whatever you want to do, turn off your. Okay. Well, turn off your video if you can. Just go to the options, turn it off. It should make it better. And then if that doesn't, then you can either leave or you can just interject with nonsense that has nothing to do with anything every minute or so. I think that will also be
which is the preferred outcome, I think. It's really.
But if not, you can go, and I won't be hurt, and I still love you no matter what happens. All right. But in the meantime, we're gonna move the fuck on.
Are you talking to me?
All right. So,
I think he's doing it on purpose. Are we? How long is it going to take until we
God, the psychedelic
Mike is a
nightmare.
fucking troll?
No,
A good one too. A good tweet troll.
Moving on from this. All right, listen, from this whole podcast.
This feels like one of those Russian number stations for spies.
Yes, that's what this is. This is a big front. You got me. You got me. All right.
Wait,
so. I don't know what the fuck that is. Yeah, what is that?
What is a number station?
Did he leave, or is that just turning off the video? Whatever. All right, listen, I'm done with this bullshit. We're going to move on. Mike, chime in when you can. So, me and Taylor have been, I just talked to him before we started. I'm a little, we've been a little behind on going to doing stand-up these past couple weeks. Camilo, what has your life been like stand-up-wise in the last few weeks?
Hidden open mics in Frederick, and I just started my own open mic in Gaithersburg.
Oh, nice.
I'm going about
Frederick and Gaithersburg. Yeah.
I'm going about 3 times a week. I'm hitting mics.
That's nice.
Nice. God damn,
Yeah,
dude. That's what, like... Oh, always cut me off. I'll always stop. There's a lag no matter where we are. Always cut me off.
We're both probably feeling pretty jealous of you. We were just talking about how both of us haven't performed since Coco, like over a week ago, week and a half ago. So
it's a weird feeling. I mean, I know. How long have you been doing stand-up, Camilla?
10 months.
10 months. Oh, gee. All right. There's our veteran.
Yeah.
Except for, of course, Mike, who's popping in and out with his weird Russian spy lingo, and that's fine. But even, like, I've only been doing it, whatever it is, 6 months now, I think. And this is the longest I've gone without going up, and it feels weird as shit. It feels really unsettling. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel rusty if I take a week off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
Fortunately, oh, God, yeah, I've got a lot of shows in the next, week, so I'm going to have to try to knock the rust off during the first one and then just, plow through the rest. But anyway, our show in particular that we're talking about is that Friday in the Room. I'm excited for you all to see it. Mike was there the last time we did one, and it got rowdy. And it was a very good bonding experience for the comics, I felt, and I'm excited to share all this with you guys.
Should I start working on crowd roasters and stuff?
Well, it's like
I really want to save that soundbite of Eric's rowdy.
Yeah, rowdy. Well, it had to do with, and I've told this story on a podcast I put out this past week, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But it's like one of the comics was like straight up like I don't even know how to phrase it. On heroin, probably. Like he was just like a straight up junkie, and he brought
Did you know
the
this
crowd.
guy or?
No, he was friends with the bar owner, and
Oh
this.
my gosh.
I hear that. I mean, I knew this going. It was like a few days before the show, because I had like 6 comics on the show. It was already booked. I guess this guy said to the bar owner who was friends with him, like old friends back in the day, was like, "Oh, I do comedy. Can me and a couple of my friends come on and do the show?" And the bar owner had never done comedy. He
Oh,
said,
it
"Yeah,
wasn't
sure,
just him?
Sure.
It wasn't just him.
there
It was
were-
him and his friends also performed too.
So yeah, he came up and he was like, "It's me and one guy," and I was like, "All right, that's cool." And then a day before the show, he goes, "Hey, can I add one more person?" And I was like, "All right, fine, but it's all short sets, right?" "Yeah, fine." And then at the show, he brings 4 people. So there's 5 more comics on the fucking show. And right before like we're set to start the show, he comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, can we add like 2 more people? Just like 2 more people?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." And here's when I realized he was just a lunatic. He gave me the names of the people, and they were people I already booked on the show. I was like, "What the hell is the matter with you?"
What?
I don't understand how that happened, but he basically was like, I guess he saw them there. These 2 guys I already booked on the show. Rob Smallwood and Eddie Lyles, and
Right.
the people I booked on the show. That's why they were there. He saw them and walked up to me like, "Hey, I got to get my friends on the show. Can they get on the show?" It's like, why the fuck do you think they're here in the middle of Burtonsville on a
Right.
Friday night? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that it's just a coincidence that these 2 comics showed up to this comedy show.
Yeah. Oh my god. And Rob Smallwood lost it, and he trashed the crowd for over 15 minutes.
What were they doing? Were they shouting over everybody? Were they?
It was like and here's the environment. This is more of an off mic conversation, but whatever. It's like there's a bar area and a show area. The bar area is packed. The show area was packed. Hopefully it'll be packed again. But like there's all this murmur from the bar area. So you just have to like I said, it's a bonding experience where you just gotta block it out and just like go for the crowd that's in front of you, which is not different than a lot of places. But like the problem was, it's like that throws you a little, and then the crowd got hammered to the point where like, and it was like they were into it because everyone at the end of the show, all these people who we thought hated it kept coming up to us like, "Thank you so much, that was so fun." I'm like, yeah, a lot of fun for us.
Right.
Because like somebody came up to, it might have been Mike actually did really well. By the way, I'm overselling how like rowdy it was. It was rowdy in the middle of the show. It was like a 2-hour show. First half hour was great. Last half hour was great. But right in the middle, some weird combination of craziness went on. And I think it was Rob's set when he was still doing jokes before he started trashing the crowd. A guy walked up to him to tell him he was really funny, but it was while he was in the middle of a joke on stage. Like I just walked up to the stage and started giving him compliments. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
That's bizarre.
Yeah, it'll be fun, and you'll all get a lot of stage time too. So I'm excited for that. So
yeah, how much should I expect, by the way? Because you told me there's only like 5 or 6 comics on there. Are we doing 20 minutes?
10 to 15. Mike Moran's going to headline. He'll do a lot. And then Bunny's going to do like 20 to co-headline, whatever you want to call it. And then everyone else is going to do like 10 to 15. The only thing I've done, I don't think either of you have to worry about this too much because you guys have more concise jokes. Everything I tell, and for viewers, yeah, this is definitely the behind the curtain comedy episode, I guess. I do so much storytelling shit that like I was noticing like I do a 3-minute bit and like they laugh but in like 30-second intervals. Then they like lose focus midway through my bit and then catch up at the end. But it was like, why the fuck is half of this joke bombing and half of this joke killing? Like it didn't make sense. So I've pulled out all of my like most concise bits.
Right.
just in case. But who knows? Could be a completely different crowd this time. and could be a whole different vibe. So we'll see what ends up happening.
I guess that's just modern media intake. Is just we're living in the Twitter generation, my man.
Also,
160 character
modern
sound bites.
alcohol intake is also a factor into that. But dude, Carmelo, I've not had you on the podcast before. Could you? I know you said you're doing comedy for 10 months, and you typically go up like 3 or so times a week. Could you? I know this is kind of like a super vague question to ask, but could you give the audience who doesn't know you kind of just like a quick background of like how you got into comedy?
How I got into comedy? I grew up loving it ever since I was a kid. Watching a lot of Comedy Central Presents, Premium Blend, HBO specials.
Totally.
So I always had a love for it, and then I developed a knack for being funny amongst my friends. So I was always the funnier person within my group of friends. And then, I don't know, 10 months ago, I had this, like, itch inside of me, and I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I had never gone up at least once and tried it out. So I went up. I went up at Wits End Saloon, Timonia, Maryland. Rob Mayer was running that open mic. Supposed to do 5 minutes. I did about 2. With some dirty dick jokes, a bunch of one-liners, and then I stared at my phone for like 2 minutes, and then Rob told me to get off stage.
Oh my God.
Well, what were you looking at on your phone? Did you have more jokes?
I had more jokes, but I was nervous and I stalled.
Yeah.
That was my first
How did he
open
tell
mic.
you to
Was
how did he? Okay, well, let me ask you this, because I actually got kicked off stage once, and it crushed my heart and soul.
Oh my God.
And it's because I went over by about 7 seconds, and then I got kicked off, and I was like, I didn't even get a second light, shit. But how did you feel after that? That didn't deter you, or was it just like shit happens kind of thing?
No, I didn't get any laughs, maybe one, and I saw my first open mic as just trying to get over the fear of public speaking, and then after that, my second open mic, I actually got a few laughs, and then I was hooked.
Nice, that's awesome. Yep, I totally relate to that, where it's just there's something in you where you're like, I can't live with myself if I don't do this.
Yeah.
Just once, and
Yeah.
after the first time I did was Sidebar, and I went up at the very end. And there were maybe like 4 people left there, and I was like, good, just say shit. And I recorded it, and then I played it back for some like comedian friends of mine. I was like, can you give me advice on whatever? This is my first time up. And one of my friends was like, did you get any laughs? And I was like, did you? And then my response was, no, but did you hear me leave room for anyone to laugh? I shit you not, I talked 5 straight minutes without taking a breath. Like, like so scared of like the silence. I was like, shit, can't do that anymore. But after that, man, just completely hooked. Where it was just like, even bombing felt like I did it.
Yeah.
It felt so good. Like I guess maybe and maybe you relate to this, is that like that I grew up loving comedy as well, and it felt more about. There's a great. Like I think it was Jerry Seinfeld said it in that movie, the documentary Comedian, where it was like when he got up, or maybe it was the commentary. To him, it was less important when he first started doing it to be like a really funny comic. It was more just to be a comic. It was more like I just want to be someone who does that. And if that's where you're coming from, then you kind of get hooked.
Yeah.
Yes, feels good.
Speaking of Seinfeld, by the way, have you guys seen this? This kind of mock-up Seinfeld episode script that's been circulating the internet recently.
It's so good.
It was really, really good.
No, I heard about it, but I didn't take the time to actually read it.
If you're a fan of
fantastic.
Seinfeld, it is 100% worth it. Because I've been explaining it to like I was just telling my parents about it because they're huge Seinfeld fans. And until it was published in the bigger like online news things, I didn't realize it was just comics spreading it around. And now that I think about it, it was only comics who were like showing it. But it's basically Seinfeld set right after 9/11, And that alone is intriguing. But the fact that this guy got all their voices down perfectly, the stories, like, I just describing the stories of what happens to each character is you're just like, oh yeah, that's Seinfeld. Like that's not only Seinfeld, that's a great Seinfeld episode.
It seemed like Seinfeld himself had written it. It really did.
It was insane. Holy shit!
Who wrote it?
Brought that up.
That's a good question.
Do you know his name, Taylor? It's a guy
No, I don't.
He works for some branch of the Onion, and then he was a contributor on Weekend Update. So he's a guy with, a working comedy writer, which makes perfect sense.
So these are completely produced TV episodes, or what is it?
No, it's just a script.
No, it's just a
He
script.
wrote
It's like a
spec
fan
script for
fiction almost. It's just a guy just wrote this. I don't think
But
it's
instead
being
of
done.
every other fan script for like everything ever, this is like perfect. Like,
Yeah, okay.
So damn perfect.
Really
I cannot
well done.
recommend it enough. But here's one thing I will say. Don't go, you gotta find it, I would say go find it on Splitsider, because if you just do a Google search of it, there's a creepypasta about a 9/11 episode of Seinfeld. And
it's not
it
the
has
same
nothing to do with this. Oh no, it has not, it's just a weird, freak, like creepy, like...
I'm trying to find it right
Internet
now
urban legend
because it was on Facebook. I'm trying to scroll through.
It's not easy to find. That's why I just keep referring people to the Splitsider article, because that's, I think, the most like popular place that it got published or whatever. Well, we were talking about. I was telling the stories about the craziness of that crowd that we at our venue the last month. Either you guys have a crazy open mic story, whether it's something happened to you or something you saw happen at an open mic.
Eric, were you? Oh my gosh, were you at the Wits End mic? Who was hosting? It was Rob. Were you at the one with Rob and this couple that came in?
No, you kind of vaguely mentioned it, but we didn't really have time to talk. Tell that story.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is so far the craziest thing I've ever seen. Not that the crowd was like running out of control, but so Rob Mayer goes up first, of course, and as we all know, Rob I don't think even prepares sets. It probably hasn't prepared a set in 10 years, I imagine. I don't know. He always just does crowd work.
He works on his crowd work, yeah.
Right, and there was only one table. Rose, do you know Rose? What's her name?
Yeah, I know Rose.
Yeah. Okay, we all know Rose. She was the only one who had brought like anybody. So there were these two couples that they're friends of hers, and they come in and they're sitting. So of course Rob immediately goes to them, right? And the first couple turns out that they're like 18. They're both, no offense, I hope she doesn't hear this, kind of brain dead, and they're just deflecting. They don't want to answer anything. He's like, so are you guys dating? And they're like, I don't know. And it's like you don't know if you're dating. Like they're completely nothing, right? So then he finally moves on to the other couple, right? And he's like, so do you guys know what you are to each other? And they're like, yes. And he's like, and what's that? And they're like, friends. But there's like this pause, right? So of course he doesn't let it go, and he starts hammering them, and it just all these details start coming out about this rich past in which the two of them were friends and they went to college together, but then the guy got kicked out of college because they did acid together, or maybe she was just on acid, and then she tried to stab him, and then security was there, and then they attacked him. They assumed immediately that he was the problem, and he gets kicked out of college. He had to hire a lawyer, and the details just keep going. Like, this was a full, I don't know, 10 minutes that Rob Mayer did at the start of the show, at the very beginning of the show, the first thing that happens. And they're just going on, and I am dying. Half the room is tense as shit. Half the room is tense as shit listening to how this detailed, uncomfortable history. And meanwhile, Rose is right next to me, literally whispering in my ear, like, this is all true. Every word is true. We don't talk about this. They never talk about this. I can't believe he's pulling this out of them. You know, and eventually Rob is like, Jesus, with that much history, I guess you should fuck now. You know, and of course everybody's laughing, and then just deadpan. They're so deadpan. The girl's like, "Oh no, I mean, we tried that before. Nope, didn't work out well." And it's like, oh my god! It just kept going, more and more details, and I was literally howling with laughter. A part of me was embarrassed because I was enjoying it so much more than anyone else.
Way too much.
I was there.
Oh, you were there, Camilla.
Oh, you were. That's crazy.
That was a pretty good recount. Is there anything else you remember about it?
I remember the crazy girl that you're referring to.
Yeah.
I tried hitting on her while I was on stage.
Oh yeah, I remember that now too.
Because she said she spoke Spanish, so I asked her, "How do you say 9 inches in Spanish?"
Right.
But she didn't get the joke.
Naturally.
And then I just walked off stage.
Yeah, yeah, that was one of the finer moments. But I picked on them a little bit too. But I thought it was yours was funny and mine was I think what I said, because I did that joke about what's the most depressing thing, and then I said, you know what, I don't think asking you two is a good idea. But
that's funny. Did you guys ever go to Matt Brown's open mic, Reverb?
No, he's funny as shit, by the way. That guy is hilarious. But yeah, no, tell me about it.
He just opened for Tom Segura.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he did. That's good for him. I think the first time he had Reverb, the Reverb mic, there was a pimp that showed up.
Oh my god.
And him and three of his prostitutes just kept walking in and out. They decided
that's how
to use.
they're used to, just in and out, in and out.
Yeah, and the pimp, he was pretty loud and trying to crack his own jokes. I don't remember what he said, but that was kind of wild.
Yeah, dude, that's nuts. That's really crazy. I used to have, like, when I play shows, music, we always had like homeless dudes would wander in, but never, and like just harass people. It's just like, oh my god, but never any pimps. I feel like I got cheated on that. Sucks.
Yeah.
It's just a loud pimp. Oh man, I remember one of the last times I did Sidebar. This was a few months ago. There's this older guy who kind of looks homeless, but I can't tell. He was there, and it's pretty late in the night. Mostly just comics left, a handful of other people. Crowd's been pretty, pretty drunk at this point, and the little crowd that there was. And so then this old, like, white, homeless-looking comic gets on stage, and he does, like, a minute or two of pretty bad jokes. And I can tell, like, nobody there likes him because he, like, is just obnoxious. And I don't know his name, but I know that people talk about him a lot. Just like, oh, that's that fucking guy, kind of. And so he gets up, and after about 2 minutes of, like, no laughter, he just starts doing some joke where he drops the N-bomb, like, 18 times. And the majority black audience, and everyone really, but it was just like, we're just like, are you fucking kidding me? And he just kept saying it.
Holy moly.
And then he gets off stage after running the light forever. And I think eventually Mark had to walk on stage and physically take the mic out of his hand. And so then the crowd is just in an uproar. Some older, like, white dude, I have no idea what his name is.
That's the worst thing you could be.
I think it was Mike Gookson, because I was there.
Yes, it was, because you were okay. Yeah.
Camilla over both of these stories is like, you guys, you remember how I was there?
Well, here's why I don't remember, because I had to go on after him.
Oh gosh, you went up right after that guy?
So. Yeah, and Garrett was sitting on the stairs right next to me. I remember looking over at him for support, and he was just like, "You're on your own, buddy. You're not getting this crowd." So, but I walk on stage, and Mark tried to, like, get the crowd back for, like, 5 minutes of cracking jokes, and this crowd was just so, like, that pushed everything over the edge. So I get on stage, and the first thing I do is I accuse him of stealing all my bits, and that did well. But, like, after that, I started going into, like, material. And nobody wanted to hear that shit. Like, all anybody wanted to talk about was the craziness that they just saw. And that was a big moment for me of realizing after the fact, after, like, bombing for the next couple minutes, because it was like, what else could you possibly do? When to just abandon a set and go, like, hey, if they're gonna laugh at me making fun of this guy for 5 minutes, or they're gonna ignore me, I'm just gonna keep making fun of this guy. Like that's just the way to do it. But that shit was crazy. Like I'd never seen anything like that. Oh man, open mics are fun.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, back to that that Seinfeld episode, I did finally pull it up. The writer's name is Billy Domino, I assume. Looks pretty French.
Sounds like a fake name.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You were right. He did write for The Onion, but he has one other movie apparently that I found here on IMDb, Albatross, 2006. I don't know, but yeah, good job to him.
You're busy.
I gotta look that up.
Nice work, Billy. He's a fucking greaser. Billy Domino. What the fuck?
Yeah. I pulled it up earlier. I just was waiting for a right time to bring it back.
Yeah. To interject.
I really do. I'm sure we all watched Joe Rogan Experience. You know, his podcast. Obviously,
here and there.
It's apparently. I think I heard somebody say it's like the most successful podcast there is. I don't know if that's true, but he has he has a guy who just pulls stuff up while people are talking, and that is so helpful. That is like the coolest thing. So I wanted to be that guy.
Nice. Well, thank you, appreciate it. And then I listen to the podcast when he has guests on that I really like.
Yeah.
And so like I was listening to the Neil Brennan one, the recent Neil Brennan one, and it was so funny because there's a point where Neil goes to the bathroom, and they use that time for the guy to fact check everything Joe Rogan said in the first hour. And he was like wrong about 5 or 6 things.
Oh my gosh!
I thought that was right. But yeah, no, you need that guy, especially for that kind of podcast where it's just like stream of consciousness, talk about whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Joe Rogan is, to me, like definitely a role model for like the mentality that I wish I had. You know, he's such a calm guy. He's so open-minded, ready to change his mind. He probably laughed and immediately accepted when he found out that he was wrong on all those points.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He was like,
Yeah, he's a great guy like that, and I do love his podcast mainly when he's talking to comedians. But man, when he tries to get into talking about politics or religion, it really goes to show that that's just not his area of expertise. Like. It can be a little painful to listen to him talk about certain scientific subjects. Actually, he probably has a better grasp of science, honestly, than he does of politics, because he does have that kind of nouveau mysticism where he really. I love the stars. I love the fucking black holes. He's always talking about massive black holes and what they're doing, and he's probably wrong about half that shit too. I'm not a scientist.
That's how I feel anytime, like, a lot of these LA comics are really into therapy and psychology, and that's what I do for a living. And it's so frustrating when they start talking about, like, not necessarily Joe Rogan, but just in general, where he'll just be talking about, like, this disorder or this type of therapy, and I'm just like, you're getting some things right, but some things are so off, and it's so frustrating when they mix, like, mysticism with psychology. And you're like, no, son of a bitch. It's not like that.
Yeah, I have always wanted to ask you about that. I know, I guess you can't tell me like things that happen when you're with patients, but when I was a kid, did you guys ever take like one of those surveys when you were a kid that are supposed to like recommend a career for you, like in high school?
No, man, I just got pussy all the time. Didn't have time for that shit.
My school required us all to take it.
No, yeah, I know. I think I did once. Yeah. What was yours, psychologist?
Yeah, well, actually, this is the weirdest part. The number one result was rabbi. Second was like, priest. And then somewhere around fourth or fifth was cognitive therapists, behavioral therapists, stuff, shit like that.
They made the distinction between rabbi and priest.
Yes, I don't know why it couldn't have been a catch-all holy man.
Yeah.
Holy man.
Fucking.
Oh, sweet, I could be Eddie Murphy. Yeah, holy man.
They didn't take the time to learn which religion you were.
No, they didn't. And I'm sure that's because if they asked if they asked what somebody's religion was, they would no doubt, what if somebody said they were Jewish and then they recommend that you become a banker? There are certain dangers.
This damn
That's
PC culture.
PC culture is that it's improper to ask someone's religion, but it's apparently proper to suggest that they would enjoy being a rabbi.
They should be.
I don't know, or to place one of those 1 and 2. I don't remember which one was the top, but maybe that's the most.
All those jobs that you listed, anything where like priest and rabbi stuff. I mean, you can even throw comedian in there too. Anything with public speaking or one-on-one speaking, just interpersonal relationship. All those things are interpersonal relationship building. That's kind of a thread between all of them, and that seems to be probably what they found in your test, is that you work best when you're forming those kind of relationships.
I remember quite well that I said several times that I liked talking to people, that I liked helping people with their problems and shit like that, and that is not true at all anymore. that is all bullshit. Those tests don't tell you anything.
I used to help. I wanted to be the help my friends with their problems, talk with anybody about it. Now that I get paid for it, I'm like, I don't want to do this outside of work. I have no interest in any of that shit. Ugh.
I think it would be especially hard for me to care when it wasn't even somebody I knew, or at least not hard to care, but hard to give anything other than the tough love and hard truth of myself. It would be very difficult for me to pull punches and package myself.
Yeah. You'd also need a shit ton of training, work experience, and school before anybody'd let you near a client.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, you'd have to go through a lot of things before you did that.
Sure. I mean, I've thought about it. It's actually something that I thought about quite a bit when I was younger.
Well, Camilla, I wanted to ask you, just so people listening know, I think Camilla's really, really funny. I haven't seen you in a while, but you have consistently new jokes that I hear. I don't know how new they are or whatever. I just know that they're new to me. Seems like every time I see you go up, you have something I haven't heard before that makes me belly laugh, which in an open mic we all know is a rarity. So let me ask you,
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you, dude. I don't want to spoil any of your jokes, but there's a couple in particular that just come to mind where I'm just like, God damn it, that's funny. I wish I'd come up with that. So, who are some of the comedian influences you have?
I have to say, right before my first open mic, I was listening to a lot of Patrice O'Neill and a lot of Patton Oswalt.
He's one of my favorite. Oh, yeah. God damn, dude. Patrice is I watched Elephant in the Room for the millionth time again today, and just God damn it! I even did a podcast episode where I took. Did you ever hear his posthumously released Mr. P, the one he did in DC?
Yep.
I think that's even better than Elephant in the Room.
Yeah, it is.
The crowd work Tolu bit. I did a podcast where I just talked about that and broke it down for a half an hour. I fucking love that guy. What a genius in so many ways. Yeah. Okay, I'm not surprised at all that I like your style. It makes a lot of sense.
I remember he had on the Mr. P album, he talked about some big black lady giving him attitude in the audience, and he just went at her and he said, "I'm not afraid of big black bitch attitude," and he just attacked her, and it was hilarious.
I also love how he'll get out at people like that, and then right when it seems to reach a boiling point, the rest of the crowd's laughing, but when it seems to reach kind of a boiling point, he'll be like, "Well, I love you. We're gonna fuck later." Gets him back. Yeah. It's so goddamn. The guy knows how to not only move a crowd. Jesus, I just go on and on about that, but
I think he must have gotten laid all the time.
Yeah.
Well, he had a little open relationship.
He had an incredible. I don't think. I'm not sure. This is probably going to be blasphemy to you two guys after you said that. I'm not sure if I've ever actually watched a special or anything by Patrice, but I have heard him a ton in podcasts. I've seen him on TV. Well, he started appearing on all kinds of stuff.
I think he only had one full hour-length special, Elephant in the Room.
Really?
He had a 30-minute Comedy Central special.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because he's so, like, Mr. P is so perfect because it's him in a club, and he is just doing the thing that he does, which is where you can't tell what's improv, what's a joke, what's what, because the guy was so perfect with that.
He was great.
But, like,
I love seeing he was very smart, too.
Yeah.
I love seeing him rip people up.
The Comedy Central presents, it's just jokes. That's how they, wanted him to shoot it, how they edited it. And it's still great, even when you distill him down to just bits. It's still so good.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's why, if you, Taylor, definitely go online. Find Mr. P. Elephant in the Room is great. I would definitely recommend finding Mr. P to kind of get a whole glimpse of, like, and especially if you want to just a quick 4-minute thing, look up Tolu, T-O-L-U. The dude does what he does best, where he'll talk to a guy, and within 10, 20 seconds, he knows the guy's life story. And he'll tell it back to the guy in a way that's more honest than the guy's probably telling his own life story. And it's crazy. And he just does it instantly. And he builds up this, like, 4-minute thing of crowd work, almost like a closing bit. Like, it builds and then goes down and builds again. It's just, like, unbelievable. And then he seamlessly transitions it to the next bit.
He had a great talent at analyzing people in a and really seeing through their bullshit. And it was the most gratifying times for me when he does that were always when he was either calling out hack comics, or which he would do on, like, big TV to their face. Like, I saw videos of him making fun of Dat Fan like crazy. Dat Fan is so hacky.
I liked him when I was 12. I thought he was the funniest goddamn thing in the world.
I thought he was funny at first, too, but then after I listened to enough of his material, I realized it was all kind of samey. But because he's got a gimmick, and he just runs with it. But not even just that. I watched oh my gosh, it must have been like an hour to 2 hour long podcast where he was with someone. I can't remember what show he was on. It might have been Opie and Anthony. I'm not sure. And this, like,
He went on Opie and Anthony 144 times.
Yeah, so it was.
Probably
it might have
Opie
been.
and Anthony.
Yeah, so this sexpert lady comes in, and she somehow there's this whole gambit about, at one point, he keeps telling her about how she doesn't know shit about sexuality and blah blah blah. She doesn't know. You're trying to tell women how to please men, but you don't know what men want because you're a woman, kind of thing. And she was not the worst person in the world, by the way. I didn't really mind listening to some of what she had to say, but he was so funny, and he was very right in some ways, just challenging her basic concept of it all. But somewhere along the lines, he talked himself into a corner, and he said that if she got naked, she could. In exchange for her getting naked, he would let her fuck him in the ass with a dildo, with a strap on, right then and there, and it becomes this whole thing. She latches onto it, and she's like, "Oh, really? Because I own my sexuality. I have no problem. I will get naked right here if you will also own your sexuality and take this dick up your ass." And he talked himself into this fucking corner, but he's such a genius. It goes on and on. They call. He's like, but he's trying to back out of it. So they call his girlfriend, get her on the line. She's like, "Nah, there's no way you're taking this dildo up your ass unless I am present." And it goes on, and then he says, "Hang up the phone on that bitch. I'm taking this dildo. I'm getting fucked by this beautiful white lady." And he insists that he's gonna do it, and she gets naked, and then he says no. He says, "No, you really thought I was gonna let you fuck me?" She breaks. She's totally bested. And the way I deliver it doesn't really give it justice, because to do that and not come off as just a faker and pussying out is something that only a genius like Patrice O'Neill could do. But he just totally won, and she was just broken and just, "No, but you have to take the stick." And it's like, "No, I don't. Why did you get naked? Okay, like all I did was use words, and you got naked.
Oh my god. Damn, dude. I gotta listen to that one. I remember, you know what? I never actually heard that one. I'm still making my way through his. There's a playlist on YouTube of all his O&A appearances, and I'm on 100 or so. And that's one I've heard referenced, but I have not heard yet. I'm excited to check that out.
Oh, definitely do it.
Did any of you guys watch Tough Crowd or even the YouTube shitty versions that they have now?
Yes.
Did you guys watch that?
I don't think I know it.
God, beautiful. That's the Colin Quinn's Roundtable show. That's basically the premise for every Comic Hang podcast that's ever existed. Like, it's if you go on YouTube and look up Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn, it's all shitty VCR recordings because Comedy Central refused to release any of the episodes anywhere,
Right.
which is weird. But it's like where guys like Patrice O'Neal, Jim Norton, Rich Voss, Keith Robinson, Bobby Kelly, all kind of like got higher notoriety because of this show.
I used to love that.
You mentioned Dat Fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good, right? Like that's what pushed me beyond like liking specials, like just comedy specials, to like understanding and loving the culture of comedy, which is just like such. And this show aired from whatever it was, 2003 to 2005. This is all like podcasts didn't exist when the show started, like at all. But yeah, I definitely recommend that. It was always cool watching when like somebody like Dat Fan or I don't know, insert your person who was big for like 6 months in here, and seeing them interact with all these like club comics and like road comics, you'd see the difference between like, oh, I can see the hack really clearly now.
Yep.
Because they can't handle an honest environment. Oh, and Greg Giraldo, of course, one of my other favorite comics.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Was regular on that show. Oh yeah, Taylor, first time I saw you on stage, I was like, he likes Greg Giraldo. I can call that shit from a mile away.
What was that fantastic tour that he was on that had God, I remember seeing it on Comedy Central.
With Dane Cook.
David Tell's?
Yeah, what was that? What was it called? The Disturbed tour?
It was just the Insomniac tour.
Insomniac.
I think it was like one show. They just called it a tour, if I'm not mistaken.
That was a good fucking show. Was Tom Segura on that too? Who else was on that shit?
Dane Cook, David Tell.
David Tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
That was a really good deal.
I think maybe Colin.
There's also it's somebody. Fuck. Whatever. Hey, this is where we need our person to look shit up. I can find that right now. Oh, fuck, Camilla. So Camilla, what do you do outside of comedy? What's your deal?
What's my professionally?
Yeah.
I work for Morgan State University.
Oh, cool.
They pay me to do math research, as well as I teach at the university math.
Oh, wow.
Undergraduate math classes.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I like teaching and research, but they don't pay much. So.
I taught part-time at Towson in the psych department, which cool. Like it's so much fun. I thought anyway. I thought it was really, really fun to teach.
I imagine that all comics would like to teach. They like to be up there talking.
Yeah.
So
they feel like they are the authority on the subject matter.
Dude, that's what like. No, go for it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say? I'm sorry. Where did you say Morgan State? Is that what you said?
Correct.
Yeah. I don't know anything about Morgan State, but I'm just curious. Do you, as a teacher, do you have any opinion on like, I don't know, the rather large wave of protesting on campuses just in general over the last like year? Do you kind of know vaguely what I'm talking about? Stuff that's been going on at like Harvard and DePaul, and there's a ton of schools that have been just up in arms.
Are you talking about police shootings?
No.
No. Oh.
No. Like specifically on campuses, like there's all like didn't I'm pretty sure the dean of DePaul like stepped down just because all these students just protested and insisted that he would.
Let me just we had at Towson when I was there. There was a lot of demands being made to the interim school, like head of the school. But it's like, I don't know, it's weird because it's just like everything seems so vague whenever I've seen like the list of demands for these schools.
Oh yeah.
And it's like they're all positive things. This is my opinion. Just they're all positive things, but they're all like weirdly unenforceable and like intangible. Because it's like we want an environment that enriches da 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 da, and you're like, great, me too. Sure.
Right.
I have no idea what to do with this, but yes, absolutely, that sounds great.
Taylor, I'm sorry. I actually don't know. I don't pay any attention to that kind of stuff. I do my shit and then I just get out of there.
All right. So it sounds like maybe Morgan State is a pretty stable place right now.
Yeah, I don't think they protest too much. Not that kind of stuff.
Sure.
The math department's pretty chill. That's what we're taking away from this.
Math departments everywhere are always the most relaxed environments.
Well, because you're all busy coaching football too, right?
And because there's nothing to argue about. That's the best part about math, right? Like
Correct.
It's either right or wrong.
Correct.
So unlike other departments that find themselves at loggerheads between.
Taylor, so Taylor, I know you are a very anti PC culture proponent thing.
Yeah. Pretty much.
What is your? All right, I want to hear you riff a little bit. Let's. What do you foresee a math department turning into? Like when it
became SJW infested.
Yeah. What's a math department look like?
Okay. I guess if I don't know that much about math, so I'm gonna try to avoid that. But like I guess I can imagine. Okay, so first of all, the biggest push, and this is what STEM in general gets pushed for, is that it doesn't have enough women in it. So obviously, if it became the SJW heaven, then there now at least half of the class is women. Probably like 80% of the class is women, and there can be no more than like 1/10 of the population who is a white man. Especially if they're straight, in which case they're only allowed to attend half the time. But I guess I could imagine, like, I don't know, SJW pushes to like, oh, you can't have students marked as wrong if they did their work on the board. You know, like if a teacher called down a student to like work out a problem on the board. I don't think people do this in college, honestly, but if you had like a student come down and it's like, oh well, you're not allowed to just exit out in front of them because in front of the rest of the class because that's pitting the class against this student. So we're going to have to work with their version of the problem, and then you're going to have to show them, you know, like how this makes sense in some way. The
first thing they do is they change proofs to feelings. That's the first thing they do. Yeah. And I have 800 shitty puns that I'm not going to bother doing because that would be awful. But no, thank you for participating in that experiment with me, Taylor.
Statistics would be banned depending on what topic that you are statistics of. You're only allowed to only statistics that support feminist theory are factually correct now.
Dude, that's what stepping away from even like the PC issue. I get annoyed when I see people. I hate this, and people do this in every walk of life. Tend to do this now, where it's like, oh, well, you can make a statistic look like anything, and then they use that, and that's true, but they use that as justification for ignoring research,
any kind of statistic.
And that frustrates.
Yeah.
The thing you need to learn how to do, if your attitude is, I question the statistic, it shouldn't be to just dismiss it. It should be, I want to see the full research. And you need to be educated enough
and maybe
to
check
understand
out the funding of the researchers and their history.
That too, but even just looking at a study, you can actually avoid ending up having to do any of that. Because if you look at a study and you know how a good study is put together, which doesn't take that much time to learn, and look at how they conducted the research, and then be like, well, does the way they did that experiment actually go into what they're saying, that what they claimed? Do the results add up, or are there other conclusions I can draw? And even we're talking about Patrice O'Neill. That is a guy whose observations I agree with almost 100% of the time, but whose conclusions I disagree with almost 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I still love him. Still my favorite comic, but I think that's an important distinction that observations don't necessarily, your observation can be the same among people, but the conclusions you draw from it can be very different.
Right.
Fucking stat. That's my stat rant. God damn it.
Oh yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. You hit the nail on the head at the start there. It's almost
So I could have just stopped
like
talking.
people think that. No, I'm not saying that. It's almost like people think that your argument is weak if you use statistics. Like oh, what, you couldn't have argued this from a purely moral perspective to me, because they want it to be an argument about morality, and you want it to be an argument about evidence. And both of you feel like the other is ignoring the arguments that they're making by taking it in this other direction. But I'm all for hard logic.
I just realized it's 10, which means I have to go in a few minutes. But I wanted to say thank you both for coming on. I'm excited. I'm going to post this up probably on Thursday to promote the show on Friday. So this coming Friday, the 12th of August, if you're around the Burtonsville area, that's just south of Columbia, a little north of D.C., or north of Silver Spring. I don't know what other landmarks to use, but it should be a good show at the Chapala Blue Beetle Bar Grill. But I don't think grill is in there. I don't know why I said grill, but it's should be a good show. It's got Taylor, Camillo, myself, Mike Moran, Bunny Themelis, and and Garrett Harvest. So it should be a really good show. Everyone I named, if you know them, they're getting extended sets, some longer sets, so you can really hear. These are like a bunch of comics that me and Mike Moran, we've been booking these shows that we picked because we know that they're extremely funny and we want to hear them do, longer sets, you two included. So I'm excited to see you guys, and hopefully it'll be a good show. Do you guys have any plugs that you can give us show-wise, or Twitter, or whatever, anything? Start with Camillo, then Taylor.
I have no plugs. I just want to say thanks for having me.
Dude, anytime, and I want to get you back on to do like a one-on-one if that's cool, so I can get your story.
Anytime, man.
Sweet, I'll hit you up. But I'll see you on Friday. Taylor, plug away.
Still no Twitter, nothing, but you can definitely.
What are you doing with your life?
I know. I hate Twitter. They banned my buddy Milo, so I don't like them. I don't respect them. I never liked them before. Anyways, that's a whole nother talk, though. No Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. I do post all my info on Facebook for shows that are coming up. Specifically, August 17th, I'm doing a charity show at Second Chance Saloon in Columbia. This show is to raise funds for Coco Lane. I think we all know there was a flood in Ellicott City. Yeah. So this is a good time to come out. Yeah. It's a free show, but obviously hopefully people will donate. It's a pay what you can basis for the show, and it's for a lot more than just the show that's happening. Eric, you're going to be there. It's for all the shows we've seen for free over the last 5 years at Coco Lane. So very excited about it, and I hope a lot of people will come out.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks again, guys. I'll let you know when I post this, and I'll see you guys on Friday. It's going to be a great show. It'll be fun.
You know what? I have a plug.
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, do it.
If any community colleges need a math lecturer, hit me up. I need more work.
Excellent. I will. We'll keep a lookout. Another off-camera conversation. Man. I work for HCC part-time. I'll let you know if we have any.
Hell yeah! Thank you.
Tips. No problem. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Have a good night.
All right, have a good one. Night.